Yo, welcome to this is not an episode, but this is the first edition, the official first edition of This Is Why We Work reviews. Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I'm glad you did that, bro, because I like made a thumbnail and I just put this
yeah,
Bobby Work reviews.
yeah.
Hey,
Come on.
we
We
love
don't even
it.
feel me.
Twinski.
That's when the chemistry get there. The pick and roll is crazy. Feel me? Give and go. It don't even matter, bro.
Yeah,
Let me fix my headset. All right. On today's edition of This Is Why We Work reviews, we will be reviewing I think a perfect movie. I I can't think of too many movies that are better than this. I actually only have one critique of the movie, so that'll tell you what you need to know.
I have one as
I just got startled by some background noise. um, the movie is Perfect Blue. The movie is Perfect Blue. This movie is amazing. The director's name, I
well.
tried to pronounce it earlier, and I was sounding like Kendrick Perkins.
Satoshi Kon.
Satoshi Khan.
Yes.
Yeah. Shout out to Game. RP Game.
RP.
All right.
One of the greatest to ever do it.
So last time, in full transparency, we was chatting. We tried to do a review and we was chatting. So this time I'm a little more prepared. So I got some loose notes, so we don't lose y'all.
I am using my paper that I wrote. Um,
Oh, like your actual essay?
yeah, my first semester of senior year.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I low key wanted to. This is how crazy this movie is. I low key wish I was wishing I was still in school. I was like, damn, bro.
Yeah,
If I had this,
the assignment was like pick a movie and analyze it. And I was like, okay. So
yeah,
that's what I did. It could like now I would write a way better paper. I got a 98
for
on it.
sure.
I think he was lying. Cause I reread it and I was like good movie.
Yeah. So a little synopsis. Okay, so for everybody who's watching, we will start this off spoiler free,
Yeah.
and then we will let you know when spoilers are coming.
Yes. So
So
watch the movie,
yeah, exactly.
come back
And
and watch
exactly. Exactly.
or watch the full thing if you don't care about spoilers.
That's true too, because Reese be doing that, and that be having me like, I
Hi,
don't know.
hi Reese.
Yeah, whatever. Um, all right, man, let's get into it. I said, yo, nah,
Making a song, bro.
perfect blue freestyle. That's hard though. That's hard. Okay. Okay. I said, Perfect Blue is the perfect manifestation of distorted reality. This movie presents questions that people deal with on a daily basis. I was gonna read it, but there's no point in me reading it. I don't want it, feel me? I don't want it to sound, but the questions that this movie poses is I'm not even gonna do that actually. See, this is how real this podcast is. I'm literally fixing it on the go because I'm thinking about what would be boring if I was listening at this point. And I'm like, nah, yeah, don't do that. Perfect Blue is the perfect manifestation of distorted reality. This movie presents questions that people deal with on a daily basis, especially in the social media era. In this movie, we follow Mima, a young pop icon, idol,
Idol.
whatever you want to call her, who is transitioning her career from this young, innocent perception to a fully matured, grown woman who is transforming into being an actress. Now, I don't know if the main, I'll say it's the main thing. The main thing that this movie tackles is the idea of perception and reality. So, how we perceive ourselves, how others perceive us, and how we perceive others, even. And I think that is the true key because there's layers on layers on layers on what this movie does correctly and what this tackles. But that right there is the true key to taking it to new heights. That is what ropes me in.
Yeah.
on every level. I'm talking the use of colors, cinematography, everything. Like the idea that Mima being stalked in this movie, that's the antagonist. That's not really a spoiler. The antagonist is stalking.
Oh,
I mean,
oh.
is a stalker. Um, the idea that as she's being stalked, I feel like I should be looking around in my bedroom is insane. Like insane. It's a psychological thriller. It's not a slasher. It's also a slasher.
How it's a slasher, so I get it's a horror movie.
It is a horror
I'd
movie.
say it's a horror movie, but
It is a horror
it's
movie.
more psychological thriller. But
Yeah,
you know,
but
it's
the
entertaining.
when it gets to the slasher elements, it's heat. I ain't even gonna lie. Um, that's a general synopsis of the movie.
Yes.
Um, that is yeah. That's a general synopsis of the movie. Now, some things I wrote it down. Some things that the movie tackles, right? Because it's very, very layered. I'm telling you that you will not regret watching this movie. Oh, I forgot to say, it's an anime movie.
Yeah.
Don't be lame about that.
Please.
It is an anime movie, but it is. I mean, I know I said before that like just because it's animated doesn't mean that it's for kids. This for sure is not for kids.
This movie is
This
not.
is like, yeah, no, this is not for kids. Do not turn this on
Yeah.
for the kids. That will be your biggest mistake.
Yeah. This is not
Because
a movie for children.
exactly. So some of the things that this movie tackles is identity, which I kind of spoke about before in terms of perception, but identity as a whole. Um, women's maturation and sexuality. It also touches on that. Being in denial about the people that we care about and their perception of us, just how we want to see people, no matter what has been done, how we would like to see the people that we care about. The internet reality and I forgot the word, a relationship,
Parasocial.
yo, this is why we work.
Yeah.
Parasocial
That's
relationships.
the main thing I wrote about in my paper. Because
Exactly.
yeah, I was like, my thesis was that the movie is more relevant today
That's
than it was in 1997. So
we the same.
yeah,
We the same. Also the idea that everything will be okay. Um, the fear of change.
yeah,
I think those are like the major big thing, the major portions. But just because those are the major points does not mean that those are the only points.
yeah.
They tackle some heavy.
It's
It's a heavy hitting movie.
it's a lie.
Oh, um, predatory, predatory men,
Oh
predatory industries.
yeah, like when he
Major trigger
oh,
warning to watch the movie as well.
yeah, when he talked about identity, it's like um how women don't really have agency in the entertainment space because like
Yes,
even if you decide that you want to like pursue a certain career, there's always that coercion, especially like with
yes,
managers in a male dominated field. So yeah.
for sure, for sure. I think that was um I'm trying to give it to you without no spoilers. I have a lot of spoiler ideas, but to be nice to y'all, my main thing, like my favorite part about the movie, that's not the nerdy cinematography stuff and just how we do it. My favorite thing about the movie was it did not shy away from any of these topics. I love that it tackled these topics head on, and there there was no real sugarcoating. Like a lot of people, what happens is because we care about people, we try to soften how we present reality to them, right? And I do think there should be some filtering in how we present reality to them, but we have to present reality. We have to make sure that you do not blur the lines between real and fake, because at the end of the day, you have to prepare someone that you care about for reality. That doesn't mean you make life hard just because life is hard. You don't have to make it harder, but at the same time, understand that do not set them up for failure because they think life is about to be sunshines and rainbows. Tell them what it is. Like it is real. for my artists, anybody aspiring to get into a creative field, this movie will be phenomenal for you to watch. It should be a prerequisite. I'll say that this movie should be a prerequisite for your journey to stardom,
Yeah.
so that you can understand a little more what you would do in these situations. Obviously, you never fully know until you're there, but if you can understand what you would do in these situations to some degree before you get in them, it could be extremely helpful. And I would recommend that. To the young women, I think you should watch it just so you know some things to look out for. Um, and men and women and the careers that you're going into, young men, watch it too. Hey man, this movie could be for everybody that's not a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
there was a tweet. It was like, oh, film people, like what are 5 films that you would make a requirement in like one of your classes? And this was a film that I thought about because it's just it's really good, like on a technical aspect, narratively. Um, it's just it's one of the greatest movies of all time, bro. I'm sorry, I don't know. Oh, and your point about what did you just say? Oh, how it doesn't shy away from certain topics. I saw certain critiques of the movie that, a lot of the graphic nature of the movie was like too much for them to handle. So like again,
Yeah, I saw that.
trigger warning. Um,
I saw that.
I personally think that the graphic violence in the film is necessary, but I'm not gonna tell somebody that they shouldn't feel a way about it being portrayed, you know.
I mean, I feel like that kind of goes into my point that I was talking about earlier in terms of like not sugarcoating reality. I mean, see, so for that, the thing is, it's not always necessary. Now,
Yeah,
I
of course
think
not. Of course not.
if there is I don't want to say it's gonna sound crazy regardless of how I say it, but please just feel me. Please just hear me out when I say it. If there is ever a way for, I don't know how to say that. I don't know how to say that. That sounds very, very crazy. I don't think, I mean, I'll just come out and say it because you should know what the trigger warning is for. It's sexual assault.
Yeah.
I don't think that the sexual assault here was used for anything outside of education.
That's
Let me say that because I was gonna be like, oh, the scene like it was done well because it's supposed to. I don't want to use any positive language that can even get people confused with that. But it was educational, and I think it
it was also
served.
fictitious.
Yes,
So like that kind of helps. It was
yes,
fictitious.
I agree. It served its educational purpose, um, and it wasn't something that was just thrown in there for shock value because that happens a lot.
Yeah.
A lot, a lot. They just throw those scenes in. I'd be like, bro, what? I was watching a movie the other day. I don't even know the name of the movie. It was just one in there. I was like, bro, what
there's,
the hell?
there's,
Like, what
there's
is
so
this?
there's so many movies like if you got just violence against women for no reason, I'm out, bro. I'm sorry.
Oh, for sure.
I'm
For
sorry.
sure. I didn't even finish the movie. I was watching. I'm like, bro, what the? All
I
right.
don't know what movie
Yeah.
that was.
I'll find it. I forgot what it was called. It was like a movie from the 70s.
Oh,
But
they love
yeah, yeah,
voyeurism and
yeah,
violence against women, boy. It's their favorite
yeah.
things.
Literally losing me. But in this situation, if you can get through it, I think
It is
you
tough to
will
watch.
not regret it. No, it's very tough to watch.
This is my
By design,
this is my fourth time, and I was still like,
it was very hard for me to not look away. By design, it's very tough. But at the same time, if you think it's tough in a movie, like
yeah,
if it's tough in a movie, like the victims, it's tough for that. The survivors, not victims. The survivors, it's tough for them. Um, People who know a survivor, it's tough for them. Which I would bet, and hey, maybe I'm not the biggest betting man, but I would probably bet my life savings that you know a survivor of sexual assault, be that man or woman
yeah,
or non-binary, but you know a victim of sexual assault. Now, that's not what the movie is primarily about, though. I
Oh,
just wanted to get that out the way. It's literally one scene, like it's literally one scene. I just wanted to get that out of the way because I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of blindsided, and I was like, "Whoa."
but you see, I feel that way too. I felt that way my first three watches, but
Mhm.
this time I was like, it made like I
On your
knew.
fourth time, you weren't blindsided. We know,
No, it wasn't.
bro.
No, 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 no. Because even the other, even like my two watches prior to this, when I had already
Mhm,
watched the movie already, I was like,
mhm.
I was still like but like
It's very hard.
yeah, but like I don't think the movie works without it really. If I'm being
Well,
honest.
because of the use of the scene, like that is the crux of the movie. It's the climax. It's like when we get into
We
spoilers.
got okay. Let's. I'm tired of non-spoiler stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
This
trying
is
to
the
talk around
end.
it, right?
This is the end of the non-spoiler section.
Listen, man, go watch the movie. Go watch the movie. Go
Sean
watch the
said in the
movie. Go watch the
podcast
movie.
episode he was giving out $4 to 50 people. So
I
watch
I
it.
specifically said not 50 people, but I
He's
said I
giving
would
out
help
he's
people.
giving out the $4 to people to watch it for 50
Yeah.
people, guys. That's 200. Sean is $200 out his own pocket, guys. So hey, and
If
I'm
you think if
you
you
watch it.
think that, you will be fairly disappointed.
It's a good movie, so watch it.
For sure. And before you leave this video, like, comment, subscribe for me. Before you guys leave, because that'll help a lot. And also comment what when you finish the movie, comment what you think of the movie. Also comment some other things you guys want us to review, man. All right, now get the hell out of here if you don't want the spoilers because here they come.
Woohoo! Okay, I got
Okay, hopefully they're going now. All right. You can go first, Mark. I
okay.
feel like I've been kind of dominating the mic.
I really want you to do it though because like I've seen the movie 4 times.
Which is why you have a great
Yeah, yeah.
taste and a great point of view. That's what I was trying to
I
say.
also don't really know how to navigate this.
Okay, you want me to start it off then?
Yeah, you know that. Last episode, the last podcast was proof. Even me having seen
Oh
this 4 times,
God.
I'm still gonna.
Okay. Okay. Now, I think the we should tackle the heavy hitter first, and that's the idea of perception versus reality that this movie takes on. Now, when you're watching this, the start of this movie is kind of abrupt. Like
Yeah,
they're just like going straight into a performance, and you almost feel like you missed something. Like,
it's like it's crazy because it doesn't ease you into the movie. It's just
at
like
all.
it's Power Rangers, and
Yeah.
then a scene of Cham performing. And then what's
Yeah.
crazy is you're already starting to trip out because
Yeah.
it's already playing with your perception of not only the film itself, but of Mima's life, the star
Yeah.
Cham. So like
Yeah.
performing, then 2 minutes later it cuts to her in a grocery store. Then it cuts
Yeah.
back to her performing. Then it cuts back to it just does a lot. And then one of the biggest things about the beginning of this movie is one of the antagonists, Mimania, the person who's stalking her throughout the film,
Yeah.
he does that thing where he like
He basically kind of
so
makes the camera.
it is a crazy shot. It's a beautiful shot.
It is.
Spoke about it in depth in my essay because
Yeah.
I think his perception of Mima is like one of the biggest problems in the film in like parasocial relationships. So he's already
Yeah.
fixated his camera on Mima. This is who he's in love with, and the persona that she's presenting to him at that moment is the only way that he can perceive her.
Yes.
So
Yes.
like
He's trapped in it.
yeah, the events that happen later on in the film, it distorts his own reality, which makes him, you know, do the things that he does later on. But the opening is
Yes.
awesome. Really good
And
opening.
the way that is directed and the way the camera is working, we are watching things through honestly, we're watching things through the most distorted lens out of everyone because we are seeing a bunch of different people's perception
Yep.
and their point of views, and we get lost in it just as much as they do.
Yeah.
which is, I mean, I thought it was a pretty cool thing because it makes you kind of reflect on your own life and how you perceive things. And it's kind of natural to, because regardless of how conscious you are, who you think you are, when you see something, you have your own preconceived notions about it. Even if you try to go into something with the most open mind, you have these experiences that give you the information that you're going to move forward with, right? So if I ask, what's your favorite color? Subconsciously, the color that you say, I already have my own thoughts about this color. So something that simple, I'm like, oh, you like red, you probably, da, da, da. And regardless of whether you want to do it or not, these things just kind of happen. So watching the film, and we're watching Me Mania, and he's obsessed, right? And this is not an uncommon thing. There are super fan stands even, and they get very obsessed with these celebrities and the idea that they have based on the little information that they have been presented, they get stuck with, right? So if we have let's say a Beyonce, right? I could be the biggest Beehive member. I do not know Beyonce.
No.
But my perception of Beyonce is just what she allows me to see, what the label allows me to see, what her PR team allows me to see. If I get too caught up in that, then the real person, which is how we dehumanize these people, the real person gets lost. And the only thing that I can fathom is the Beyonce in my head, the one that I know. And if I see anything that deviates from that idea, I'll get lost in it as well if I'm a super fan, right? And that is the danger that we are presented with. And this movie was made in 1997, and it's crazy because the internet and how it is now, I don't think you could have predicted what the internet would be now. But what it is now, you don't have to be a celebrity for this to happen. Our interactions are primarily on the internet. So we sitting down and, feel me, I might know somebody, I follow them online, I follow you on Instagram. The only thing I know about you is what you allow me to see. So I don't really know that person. You don't really know the person that you see on the internet because at the end of the day, it's a skewed perspective, right? So Mima, she is this pure young pop icon, and this is what she wants everybody to see. You don't know anything else about her if you're just a fan, besides the fact that she's a part of your favorite group and you love her music and you see this purity. But at the end of the day, there's duality to everybody. Actually, people are multifaceted. So we can't just sit down and get stuck. And that's what Me Mania did. He saw the one perspective and he got so fixated on it. That was his entire life, like entire life. And that's what it is.
Yep.
But there's always going to be many factors that you have to consider. The fact that she's a star. So there are thousands and for me, tens of thousands of people that she has to present an image to on a one-on-one basis. That you a totally different person, bro. You might be into something that nobody even cares to ask you about. They just want to hear the music. So you only give them the musical side of things.
Yep.
But that's where our stalker loses his entire mind when she makes the shift from pop icon to actress. He makes the shift from creep to entirely deranged because he formed that parasocial relationship and a part of him has changed and that terrifies him. He loses his entire mind.
That's scary.
It is scary.
Bro.
It is scary. It's a real horror movie.
Oh, and you know what? Let me get into that now too, because
Yeah.
so I think we have the same critique.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
we do.
So Me Mania is he has a deformed face. That's the only way I could really say it. And
He's
horror.
not conventionally attractive.
Yeah, he's very ugly. He's very.
But
But it's not
no,
even that he's just ugly. It's like he has facial features and
yeah, his features are not where like his eyes are lower. You wouldn't think
yeah. So like
like they're not what you would picture when you picture your typical person.
yeah, and it's a horror movie. They do this. I don't really like the trope. I think it sets a bad precedent when you
I hate that trope.
encounter people with deformities such as these. You know, your perception of these people could change. Just because You don't look regular. That doesn't mean that you're inherently evil or a bad person. But
Agreed.
Nemania in this film is really ugly looking. So you're already like on edge when it comes to him. And you know, I like the defense to it is like you want the physical features of the person to match their evil spirits, and I kind of get it, but at the same time, like even the other antagonist in the movie that we'll talk about later, Rumi, she looks like she has Down syndrome. Like it's just slightly. So you know, that's my only critique of the movie. Only critique, but other than that,
I want to build on that critique though, because that's another thing when it comes to perception, and that's the only place where I think he missed the mark when it comes to perception. Because
yeah.
that was funny.
Some
Yeah, because in all reality, right, the precedent that you were talking about, the reason why it's extremely dangerous is because when we get into people who are actual predators, right? When we get into people who do actually cause violence, people's first instinct is to go, well, they're attractive. They don't need to do that, right?
yeah.
Like, why would he need to? There's no way he could have done that to those women. He doesn't need to try to take sex. He's attractive. What do you mean you didn't like it? She bad. How you didn't like that? What, you don't like women? And it's this stupid idea, right?
Yo,
That that someone's physical attraction, which at the same time is subjective. It is subjective because just because you think somebody is super attractive does not mean I do. Like I could think that person is ugly, but you think they're super attractive, right? And the likelihood is it most of the time it would be people who can get close, right? A lot of people they kind of have this idea that everything is like the most extreme horrific way. Like every time there is someone who is a predator, right? Or let's talk about kidnapping or anything like that. It's the most extreme horrific thing that is like it's so unlikely to happen that you don't even really have to worry about it. No, the reality is it probably is that attractive person because it would allow them to get closer to people and prey on these people when they let their guards down. Like I I hate the idea that oh no, like you look conventionally attractive. There's no way you could be a monster. No, you could be a monster. I just wanted to make that very clear. Like, it has nothing to do with attraction. That's why the whole like it's like the conventionally attractive guy and the conventionally and the unconventionally the ugly guy, I guess, right?
bullying versus harassment.
Exactly. And it's not that simple. And I hate the oversimplification. I mean, sometimes on Twitter, you know, when it's like when you make it a basketball reference or something like that, like it's funny. But
Yeah.
when we speak about the reality of it, like, no, I hate that. And that makes absolutely no sense.
Yes.
If a lot of people find someone attractive, they think that they can't be a predator. Which I mean, that was the thing with like R. Kelly. They were like, bro, a million women
When is
want him already. He's a monster. Okay, he's a monster. And I want to, you know, that is the most popular. That's the most popular case of it, and that's why I want people to kind of because that's all right. Here's my thing with that, right? This is why movies are not just something that is just entertainment. They want you to take something away from it, right? There's ideas about this, and you have to formulate your own ideas and opinions, and that's why media literacy is important. The in real life, the idea that because and I've been using like more gender neutral terms because it's not just women who are survivors of sexual assault, but I'm gonna go the women direction in this case because
this movie specifically is
yeah, and the men situation is like a whole another thing where people don't think men could be survivors. But because the idea was because R. Kelly had so many women who willingly wanted to have sex with him, right? That means that he couldn't have been a predator. That means he couldn't have been going after underage women. It makes absolutely no sense. And that's why you need to believe people when they say these things. Do people lie? Yes. But funny enough, they really do not lie that often.
no, it's a very
I, I I'm mad that I forgot the exact percentage. Obviously for me, you got to give it a little grace because those numbers don't account for every single thing. But every under everything that I looked at in my time when I was a part of It's On Us, the amount of women who are lying about these cases are very small. We don't want to believe them because misogyny works very, very well. Sexism works very, very well. And the perception already is there is already damage control, right? So the idea is that women have something to gain from lying every single time. The idea is that because a guy has women who wants them, they cannot be going after women who don't. It's already set in motion. So you already kind of have the idea to just be like, oh no, dismiss it. That's not true. Oh, they just want to take him down because he got money. They just trying to attack the black man. And that, hey man, the black man does get attacked, but y'all niggas be dragging it too. Let's keep it 100. Don't cover up for monsters because they black. Now we cover up for black, for me, we stick up for black people, we correct our own, but we not covering up for monsters because they black. All right. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. Let's get that straight. And that's where I think the movie took a wrong turn because you give the wrong idea.
Yeah. It's a stupid trope. Still happens today. Like it's kind of like it's one of those like staples where you're like people just brush it aside because it's always used, and so yeah, we can continue
Now,
about the movie now.
I mean, that was about the movie.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that I loved about this movie, and this will bring us into the actual main antagonist, right? The idea of how we see people that we care about. Now, Mima's one of her agents, Rumi. It was Rumi, right?
Yeah. She was like a mentor.
Yes. She was also a former pop idol icon, but her career never panned out the way Mima's did. So she wanted Mima, she wanted to live vicariously through Mima, right? And she did care about her very much. For sure she did.
Oh,
But
yeah.
she got lost in that, huh?
Yeah, but no doubt about it, she did.
Yeah. But she got lost in, and this happens very often, not to the same extent, but it happens very often. She got lost in the idea of, is this what's best for her, or am I trying to live through her? Those are two very different things. You have to remember, she lived her life already. She had her chance at that. The only thing that she was supposed to do was provide guidance. She got lost trying to live out her old dreams. Mima, the reason why my interpretation of it was because the use of reflections, which was done phenomenally, right? There is a scene at the end, and it's our final battle, right? Where Meme Mania, he tries to rape Mima, and she escapes without being assaulted. She hit him in the head with a hammer, and she escaped. Rumi comes, and we think that Rumi is about to bring her to safety. On the ride back, she says something funny, and she says, "I'm going to take you back to Mima's room." And I was like, when it happened, I was like, wait, what?
Oh, wait, before you even say that though, before you even get there, because there needs to be context about Mima's room.
Yeah.
So, bro, 5 minutes into the movie, like I told, like already, our perception is already being played with. We already seeing different like facets of Mima's life. So we know what's going on, but we're still tiptoeing the line, like really figuring out what's going on. So this is after her final concert where she announces that she's gonna pursue an acting career. She's no longer gonna be a part of the Cham group. I think it was Me Mania, but I'm not sure because his voice is very high pitched, and the person who said this, his voice wasn't as like high pitched as Me Mania's. He was like, "Oh, I'm always looking at Mima's room or at Mima's room."
Yeah.
And initially you're like, "Yo, what?" Right? And then then it like cuts to her room. I think I'm a little jumbled right now.
She got in the car and Yeah, then it cuts to her
Cuts
home.
to her room. So you're like, whoa. So now you're thinking like somebody's like legitimately stalking her through her room. But come to find out that Mima's room is a is like a
Chat room. It's like an online chat room.
online. It's like a blog, a blog. It's like a blog
Yes.
somebody else set up. I think it was Rumi.
No,
Where
it was.
yeah, it was right. Yeah,
Yeah.
where Mima is like saying, "Oh, this is where she could connect to her fans." Mima doesn't own the computer, so like she hears somebody's looking in Mima's room. She's like, "Yo, what?" And then there's
Yeah.
another like scary moment that happens with that idea. It's cool. So yeah, you good.
Okay. Yes. So Me Mania is the one that was acting as Mima on the blog, right? Basically saying that help, this is obviously not me. The industry is making me do this because he could not let go of that idea of her.
Yeah,
Now, where he was getting that information was Rumi,
she was
because
evil.
Rumi, yeah, Rumi knew all of these things, so that it could actually sound like her and it would be true because Rumi wanted to protect that image so much so that she actually lost her mind. Um, Now, in the car, when she's like, I'm taking you back to Mima's room, I literally, it happened so casually that I'm just looking, I'm watching the movie. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, that was mad crazy. What she mean by that? And then I was like, all right, whatever, whatever, whatever. Because from we still going through the movie and something like super eventful just happened. Like he just escaped sexual assault. So I'm like, okay. Now we get back to the room.
And Rumi like when Rumi comes to meet her, your guard is down now because it's like it's Rumi. Like we know
Exactly.
Rumi cares for us, we care for Rumi.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. So when we get to the room, right? She wakes up and
it looks like her room.
it looks exactly like her room. And when she gets when she wakes up, it's funny because the way it's shot, it feels exactly like when you wake up
Mm-hmm.
and you just like, bro, what's happening? Like, I don't when somebody wake you up and you just distorted, you're like, bro, what? Like somebody talking to you, you can't even understand what they're saying.
Yep.
So she wakes up and it's very distorted. And that helps the scene a lot because it's hard for us to keep track of what is real and what is not real, right? So she looks into the mirror and we see her reflection in her old attire as the pop idol Mima. Yeah. Oh, okay. And when we see that, there's a second where the reflection changes and it's actually Rumi in a perfect replica of that exact outfit, right? And Mima starts talking. She's like, "This is Rumi. This is not funny. Like, what are you doing? Feel me?" But Rumi has completely lost it. She has like her split personality is it's over now. She has completely lost it. She thinks that she is the real Mima, and she thinks that the only way to protect Mima's image is by killing this
Killing
imposter,
her,
which is the real Mima.
yeah, killing her and then impersonating me. It's
Exactly.
wild. There's so much more to like that.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, like I was reading somebody else's review, and it's like typically Japanese like media, film, and TV, like
Mhm,
the portrayal of women is in three stages. You know, you get childhood, you get like adolescence, and then you get like where you're
mhm,
out of the you're no longer sexy. You're like an old woman now. So
mhm,
and like Rumi is like in that in between phase, and
mhm,
then this is where like the patriarchal like themes and how a lot of their lives are constructed by men, and it's like Rumi doesn't have the agency to like navigate those stages on her own. Like she
mhm,
tried the idol thing, and then she was deemed like not viable for that position anymore. So like people just gave up on her and her career. So now she's like trying to help other women become pop idols. And so she's stuck in this in between phase and she doesn't really know how to navigate it. So that's where like a lot of the split personality comes because she hasn't really let go of that part of her life. And like she shouldn't have to done that. She should be able to, say when her career is over on her own terms. But stuff like that happens when
That that's exactly what I think was a perfect cover. Because she didn't know herself, we couldn't really identify the fact that she was actually the killer. So, and that the scene in her room, right, where the reflection changes and we don't see Mima, we actually see Rumi dressed up as Mima. I thought that was the perfect shot, right? Also, there's another shot where she's chasing her and she's just drooling and where Rumi's chasing Mima
It's
and
like
she's just drooling and foaming out of the
it's
mouth.
so weird. It's like so when the movie has supernatural elements, right? So like during the final chase scene, it's Rumi, but it's like presented. She looks like Mima. She's like a twin of Mima,
Just
and she's like
gracefully.
gracefully floating. You know, we're seeing how Rumi feels in that moment. So like she's gracefully flowing, and she looks like Mima. So like it's like Mima, and she's floating, just chasing after her gracefully, and then her reflection is Rumi, where she's sweaty, bloody, looking like she's ready to kill her.
Just
It's insane.
drooling.
It's
And I
insane.
think that was the perfect imagery that we could have gotten for how Mima has chosen to view Rumi.
Yeah.
I think I think that was so important because although she could have seen signs to say that Rumi was off, Mima loved Rumi so much that she just didn't want to see her that way, which ultimately almost led to her demise because her not seeing Rumi and for what she actually is at this point in time, it almost came to the point where it was almost too late. And I mean, that happens a lot in people's real lives, whether it's relationships, um, platonic or for me, romantic.
Yeah.
A lot of the times you care about somebody so much that you just don't want to see them in the light that they actually are. And they can give you so many signs, and you're just like, man, I see the good in you. Like this, we could figure it out, and or we'll just completely blatantly ignore it. You see it, and you just be like, oh, well, no, I didn't see that, and that distorts your perception of reality at the end of the day because in all actuality, that person is gone. The person that you know and love is probably gone. That's probably cannot come back. Maybe they can, but at the end of the day, the reality of the situation, the fact of the matter is that is not who they are now.
And it's funny.
And
That's how Rumi felt. And like the way
exactly,
explaining it, she'd probably say, "Well, I felt that. I felt the same way." And it's like,
exactly,
yo, chill, bro.
exactly. And
Chill.
that is the that is the that is the genius of this movie, man. The genius of this movie, like the camera editing, bro. The cuts, the cuts are so amazing because they never allow you to get comfortable in a space for too long. We never really know what is happening. Like,
That's
I
what
think this is a perfect scene.
we got to get into that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, since he's just a master, because I'm trying to think of where it initially starts. So the show that Mima is like casting, so she leaves her pop group and she's casting the show, and she has like a really minute role,
Double blind.
like yeah, double blind is what it's called. Which that being the name of the show is even
Double bind, not
double
blind.
blind. Yeah, it's so
Blind.
layered. There's a theory W.E.B. Du Bois had about that double binding with being black and being American and try to. It's crazy, and Mima fits that perfectly. But
Insane.
I won't dive too deep into that. But
There's a lot. There's a lot.
so
Yeah.
much.
It's hard to,
It's so much.
it's hard to
So
keep it compact because there's
yeah,
just too much. That's why you gotta watch it.
yeah. So where was I? Yes. So the show she's initially casting, she has one line, and this is how
Mhm.
he just distorts reality within like the first 10 minutes of the movie. So we learn that there's this site called Mima's Room. Mima's reading the site, and she's like, "Why does this person know this much about me?" And she's saying, "Who are you?" And she keeps repeating that, looking at her screen. We never leave Mima. We keep looking at her as she's saying, "Who are you?" It cuts while she's still saying, "Who are you?" Come to find out that "Who are you" is her one line in the show that she
Mhm.
has to say to the detectives that want to speak to her. So like as she continues on with the show, she's doing a good job. She's getting more lines. Her role is improving. So now her role in the show is directly matched with her role in real life, like her real life life in a sense. So when we get a scene where one of the writers of the show is talking to her agent or her manager, and he's like, we're gonna have her do the rape scene. And the reason why we want to do the rape scene is because after the rape scene, that's when Mima's characters, Mima's character is gonna start to lose her sense of reality, and everything is gonna just unravel for her. And it's so meta because literally that's the scene that sets everything off in the film. With Rumi starting to change the way she acts, with me Mania starting to get a little bit more aggressive in his pursuit of her. And it's so crazy. And that's why I think the scene is necessary. Um yeah, and then
I
that he just starts match cutting. We go from scene to scene seamlessly, where she's talking about things in her real life, but her character is also experiencing the same things. It's so wild, so meta. Some of the greatest narrative device in anything I've seen
for
personally.
sure. For sure. That scene is where, because she doesn't actually get raped. And funny enough, when the rape actually, when it's time for her to actually do it, that's where she starts to grab hold of her reality. Because when it's time for that to actually happen, she escapes it and she actually beats Me Mania, which I spoke about earlier.
Oh no,
Um,
I wasn't even talking about that one. I was talking about the one in the show.
no, yeah, I was talking about the one in the show, but the one in the show is where she loses her
Oh,
grip.
okay, yeah.
Then
You was spitting, bro.
the
Oh,
one
what?
in the show. Yeah, like for me, the one in the show that she's acting is where she loses her grip. But
Yes,
in reality, when
yes,
she starts to get it together, that's when she avoids that happening, and that is a sign for us that she's starting to get it together.
yeah. It's
Um,
like, bro, she's losing grip on reality. There's so much like one of
yeah,
my favorite things, and it took me till this watch, my fourth watch, to understand. So people are starting to get murdered after the rape scene because the rape scene, Rumi is so against Mima doing the scene. She doesn't want her to do the scene at all. And then when Mima says
Mima is also against it, but she's too
she's
scared
against
to
it, but
speak up
she's
for herself.
yeah, and like it's a man dictating her career and her life.
Yeah,
So she doesn't know how to say no. She doesn't have any agency. So she's like, yeah, I want to do it. This is how my career is gonna progress. I want to progress
yeah,
in my career, so I'm gonna do this if this is what I have to do. So Rumi is against that. Rumi separates herself for a while. And I think
yeah. She's actually gone
yeah,
for.
this is when the murders start happening. So the first person that's murdered, who was the first person that murdered? Is it the
It's
right? It's the
the
writer.
writer.
The writer because he wrote the scene. So the writer murdered, and I know that one for sure was Me Mania. Um,
Yeah.
the person that gets murdered next is a photographer who he's a predatory guy, and who has is somebody with a video. Remember that dude that used to
Video.
make videos with Drewski? Is Ben the Don? He has a video. It's dumb funny of like a he's like a photographer and he's
Uh-huh.
mad predatory, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, do it like that, do it like that. And that's
yeah,
essentially how the photographer in this film was. Like we didn't really
for
see the
sure.
yeah, she's naked, she's taking pictures, blah blah blah. So when he gets murdered,
Watch out for that in real life, ladies, because
facts, they be
these
bugging.
niggas are dead. Be like, yo, you want to do a lingerie shoot, a
Yeah,
bikini shoot,
wow.
underwear shoot? Like,
Yeah,
bro, do you shoot people with clothes on?
come on, come on. So yeah, so when he gets murdered, so when the writer gets murdered, we don't really see the murder. We see what happens after the murder.
Yeah,
When the photographer gets murdered, we actually see it, and it's Mima. So you're like, wait a minute, what's
yeah.
happening? And the day before, Rumi is with Mima because Mima is starting to have these dreams, and she just needs Rumi. She wants to talk to her. She doesn't know what's going on, and she's like, "Yo, is this real life?" So she breaks a cup, and her hand is bleeding, but she just needs to feel something. She needs to feel that the life that she's living is a real life.
Shit, just
So
like me for real.
So after that happens, we get to the scene where the photographer is murdered, and it's by Mima, and it's like graphic and like I showed the case of my steel book. That's
That
that's the scene on the.
that scene
It's crazy.
with the red,
Yeah,
yellow, and is it red, yellow, and blue lights?
it's probably blue.
I think it was the red, yellow, and blue lights. Insane
Yeah,
because those are the three colors that the original group Cham
champ. Yeah, charm, champ,
Cham
charm, champ.
yeah those are the colors that they wear.
Yeah.
And Mima wears the red.
Yeah, it's crazy. So that happens, right? She wakes up the next morning. So we think Mima just murdered somebody. She wakes up the next morning, her hands are shaking. She's like, I don't like, what did I just do? She goes in the in her closet. The dude's clothes are there, and the person and the clothes is all bloody. All the bloody clothes is in her closet. And then there's reporters outside. Oh my God, blah 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 got murdered. So we think so our reality is getting distorted. We think Mima just murdered somebody. She didn't. But it's just the way that Satoshi Kon just plays with reality.
The use of red, pay attention to that. The use of colors. I can't.
It's too
I
much.
don't feel me.
Too much.
I don't wanna. I
It's
do wanna. I can go on forever. Is the point.
yeah, that's why we have to at some point we gotta like
Stop the video.
such an
Yeah,
it's such an overwhelmingly good film. And
it is, man. As you can see, if the excitement that we speak about this movie with isn't enough, the way we break down the movie isn't enough. Honestly, I wanted to be more organized, but I just couldn't because this
yeah,
movie is too great. There's too many things to unpack. Honestly, I could write essays on each thing, each issue that this movie addresses. And I'm talking like lengthy essays too. I'm talking 15-page essays on each one of these
was
things.
on?
Like it's amazing, man. And it's short. It's like 80 minutes.
Guys,
It's like 80
I
minutes,
don't
bro.
know how he
Maybe
managed
81.
to make this film so cohesive, dense, and concise all at the same time.
It's insane.
I don't.
That's greatness right there.
Yeah, bro. I'm telling you,
That's greatness right there,
he's
man.
he's one of the goats, bro. He's one of the goats, man. If you think this movie bust your head, Paprika, that'll bust your head.
I put on the watch list.
Yeah,
I put
that
on the watch list.
and that'll bust your head, bro.
And I guess, are we wrapping this?
Yeah.
I like the review. I guess, man, in conclusion, oh, we should give it scores.
Oh yes, yes. Okay. Well, I guess I can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So are we stars are out of
Yeah.
10?
Ah,
Both 5 stars, 10 out of 10 for me personally.
that works. I'm going same 5 stars, 10 out of 10 for sure.
Yeah. The one negative I have about the movie is not strong enough to me for me to be like, oh, I'm gonna deduct some points.
Yeah, if I were to deduct something for that, it would be a 9.9 out of 10. But
It'd be a 9.99.
yeah. So yeah, man. In conclusion, this movie is art. This movie is a masterpiece. This movie is amazing. Watch this movie. It only takes 80 minutes. And then for me, come tell us what you think about it. Tell us why we the goats for putting you on to such an amazing movie. Cause
He's funny.
I mean, feel me?
Yeah.
Just
Gosh,
tell us about it.
just that's the last thing I will say is go watch Perfect.
Go watch Perfect Blue. Tell us why we the goats. Tell me why I'm the goat for putting you on this movie. Tell me that I did a great job breaking down this movie. Tell us that Mark did a great job breaking down this movie. Tell us your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Tell us what y'all want us to review because this is why we work.
While we work, man.